Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 18th day of January 2024. Get my tea over here, get it cooling so I can drink some without burning my mouth. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I've been watching social media for what's going on in Portland, and I talked to my youngest son yesterday. He lives in the area, and school, I guess, was still closed, and they're still frozen. And I'm just like, oh my God, because we're melting here. And of course, it's freezing. I guess it's raining a little bit though, and it's freezing rain, which we don't usually. I mean, I just don't really think I've lived here since '81, and I don't really think it does that all that often here, but it's doing it because the climate's changing. And so I guess maybe we need to start expecting it. I don't know. But anyway, it's gonna delay our going out to the grocery store for a few more days until we're sure that's over with, because I don't want to deal with that. So, and we've got plenty of stuff. We stocked up before this happened, just in case we were gonna be in it for the long haul, you know. But I think the roads are probably clear. But if there's ice, I don't want to deal with that. So, anyway, I hope you all are doing well, and I hope everyone in Portland is trying to get through the mess that is happening right now, because it's quite devastating over there in some places. So with all the trees falling and the power lines down and people without power, and I don't know where they are in that, if they've restored all power, if it's still in process, I don't know. I would assume it's not done yet, but it just shows you that you never know with the weather, and it can be quite tumultuous, and this was. And it's not like they don't deal with this kind of stuff over there, but this was just huge all at once. And so, and I don't know how anybody prepares for that. I really don't. Not completely, you know. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. And I've taken the rune here today. It's Ewaz. Now, Ewaz is an interesting rune. It's about... It's a water element rune. It's essentially Laguz forward and reversed. Laguz looks like this, a little hook. And it comes together. And when you think about it that way, you're flowing together with other people. Either this is about balanced polarity, or it's about, it's thought to be binding toward mutual end, the intuitive bond we share with other people. Let's see, it can also represent the Merkaba in a say in a trance working, where you can kind of use it as sort of the portal or doorway you can walk through there and into another dimension if you want to do it that way. It's the 19th rune, so it has a numerology of 1. 9 and 1 is 10, 1 and 0 is 1. And so it's kind of about new beginnings, always coming together. Because the ego tends to drive us apart. So, you know, when we access the soul within, when we access higher awareness, it sort of softens all of that need for the individuality and all of that, and keeping the boundaries around us to the point that we can't interact well with other people. But realistically, as souls, we're all one, and so we're all one in the Creator. So if we're all aspects of the Creator, then it'd be like telling your cells you don't need to work together. And then what do you think is going to happen, right? Well, if you look at that metaphor and sort of expand it out into humanity and the issues humanity has, we all need to practice a little more Ewaz in our lives and understand the true reality of the soul bond that we share with one another. So it's about partnership and relationships and all of that. So let's see, though, what all that has to do with our daily life, with the Geomancy runes, what it will signal for us today. I suspect that it's about coming together in unity, but I don't know. We'll just see here. Well, we have Pur. Now, Pur and Puella, or Puea, they're the youthful energy runes in the Geomancy set. This is Pur. This would be Puella, or Puea. And this is little boy energy. This is little girl energy. Both are scattered. Both are kind of here, there, and everywhere. They're not really it's not like Rubius, which is a real ego-driven type of a rune. Very, it's considered evil in the geomancy runes. It's one of the evil ones, and all that means is ego is really, really taking control of everything, and so it's really, Rubius would be a misuse of force. But Poor, on the other hand, is just scattered little boy energy. And so lack of impulse control, always curious, want to go do this and that. I raised two boys, as I've said, whenever I pull this, well, I've raised two boys, so I know what that's like. But they are just, they don't necessarily think of the consequences to what they're doing. They're just excited about doing something and experiencing it and learning and seeing what it's all about, discovering this and that. We would buy them learning toys for when they were back in the 80s from Radio Shack for Christmas, and they always had these learning. By the end of the day, or maybe not even that, they'd already have them taken apart to see what's inside. So hopefully we could get them back together and they would work, and sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't. But the point is it's not about, for them, working with it as much as what's on the inside of it, what's making this work, so they don't realize that what they're doing is something that could actually destroy what you just spent money on. But for them it was just really cool. Well, that's Poor. All right. But for the purposes of the reading, let's just think of it in terms of maybe a lack of impulse control today, and it may then overshadow what your intuition is telling you, particularly if a partner or someone you're in a relationship of some kind. This could be coworkers, it could be neighbors, friends, actual spouses, or life partners, whatever it is. There could just be a little bit of impulse control, a lack of impulse control today that may impact that intuitive bond that you share with them. And so you may know what you're doing isn't right, but you're going to do it anyway. And so, and it could stress the relationship out maybe a little bit. Anyway, but to get a little bit more details, now last time I ended up taking 4 cards, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, no, I took 3 last time. It was, oh no, that's the week before. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I did. I took 4 cards last time. I was looking at the wrong week. So let's see though what the cards have to say about the details of all of this, of what that might look like today, and maybe how you get yourself out of it. Let's go ahead and just control yourself, basically. But if not, we'll see what the cards have to say. Well, okay, this is interesting. Now, why did that pop up? I don't know why that popped up. I'll put that over there. My iCloud drive. Anyway, we've got the 5 of Wands, the Queen of Swords, and the 4 of Swords. So we got a run on swords here. So that's the air element. And again, that's about the mental faculties. That's intellect. It's reason, balance, justice, truth, deception, all of that. And then Wands is the fire element. So that would be the will, exercise of the will. It'd be creativity, new opportunities, motivation, things like that. With the 5 of Wands, though, there's a change. 5 means change, means protection. The pentagram, innovation, freedom versus restriction. Here you've got 5 young men, each holding a staff in their hands. You can see that, in the Rider-Waite, you're going to always see these staffs or clubs, either way, whatever it is. The Ace of Wands tends to look more like a club. But you always see greenery growing off of it. So there's still life force within it, even though it seems to be disconnected with the ground and growing per se, there's still life force within it. So again, fire element is life force. You can see that. But here we have essentially a difference of, or I won't say a difference of opinion, but maybe expression of different ideas. And people, they're not really listening to one another. But they're involved in all of this. No, I have this idea. No, I have this idea. And it's not really something that you can see the staffs necessarily connecting, although this guy might be connecting with this guy here, but because it goes behind though. So, and I don't see this, well, he kind of does look like he's maybe a little off balance, but maybe he's just got his staff back, that's all. So it doesn't look like anybody's hitting anybody. Nobody's getting injured. So we don't want to see this as an argument. But there's just an awful lot of ideas that maybe are being expressed that nobody's really listening to. And so obviously something needs to happen here. They need to actually be able to sit down and have an honest conversation. But I don't think we get that until we get into the swords aspect of the reading. The Queen of Swords comes in. Here's Mother trying to corral the boys. You can see she's sitting in a throne. You see clouds around her. You see movement in the trees, so that implies air is moving. There may be some, you can see some darker clouds down here, but they're lighter up here, although they're not white. And so the sense of purity is not there and truth is not there. She holds her left hand out in welcoming, like she's welcoming the truth, but maybe not so sure she's going to get it. The queen is somebody who doesn't suffer fools gladly, as they say. She's, well, that's what they say about witches anyway. But she doesn't. She doesn't suffer fools gladly. She doesn't want people lying to her. She doesn't want people engaging in any kind of deception. So if you come before her, you need to be honest about things and not try to fool her into thinking something else is true. And so perhaps the truth of this is then either someone here is in the five is going to become the queen in a sense and demand this type of honesty and an honest interaction. Or this is somebody who's coming in and saying, now, wait a minute. So if this is in a work situation, you've got a supervisor or a boss of some kind, maybe saying, look, this is not going to work. We've got to figure out what are these ideas and let's try to figure out what we're going to do with them instead of just everybody shouting out what they think and feel. And it's not going anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. And so you could look at the five as aligning well with poor and the lack of impulse control. It's like you've been given maybe this is a work situation this is talking about, and you've been given the direction to go and come up with a plan or some solutions or something for a particular problem that people are having there at work. Maybe you're engaged in a new project together. It's a collaborative effort, and you've run into some obstacles, and nobody can figure out what to do. We've got to sit down and figure it out. Explore different ideas, even if they might seem stupid. You say them anyway because who knows? Maybe a piece of it can combine with other pieces, and you can come up with some collective solution out of it. But clearly, nobody's getting anywhere. And so, in terms of Ewas, we're not flowing together in harmony. Since it's made up of lagus forward and reversed, you're looking at flow and harmony together as one, and which we're having problems doing, right? The lack of impulse control is preventing that. So I think that may be what we're talking about with Ewas, that we need to have that flow here together with something, either with a partner, a group of people like co-workers, if you've got a neighborhood project that you're working on or whatever, we need to come together and have this and come up with the solutions that are going to best take us in the best direction, right? But again, with the Five of Wands, it just seems like there's just too much craziness, too much busyness without anybody really listening to one another. And so at some point, everything's got to settle down. The boss comes in, or someone here realizes it and becomes the boss. So it takes a leadership role here. And we need to get down to brass tacks here and figure out what we're going to do. And we're going to let go of all of the nonsense and all the lack of impulse control and focus in on one thing, and see and take it to its conclusion. Is this going to work? If that's not going to work, then let's choose another thing. We'll talk about that. We'll figure out what we're going to do. What's going to work here? What are we going to accomplish? What are we going to succeed with here? And that I think is clearly someone either from this group that you're, if that's what this is, or if it's a partnership or whatever, someone's going to have to be the adult in the room and decide what's going to happen here and guide people along that path and guide the other person, if it's just two people, along that path, essentially. Then we come to the Four of Swords. Here we have one of these interesting caskets from long ago. Usually it has to do with royalty or some the lord of the manor, the lady of the manor, or whatever, and they would put, although they would be inside the casket, the relief of them would be on top. So this is a mausoleum. You see four swords. One is literally at rest, in balance. These are pointing downward into physical reality, as opposed to the queen, whose sword points up to essentially accessing higher power here. So this would be the above expression. This would be the below expression. Well, I mean, when a person dies, of course, it's the below expression. But anyway, this four is about structure. It's about foundation. It's about respite, grounding. Here you see a stained glass window here. You see, it's difficult to know for sure. This could be the priest, and this could be, I'm not sure. I don't think it's a monk, but I don't know. This could also represent the family of the person here. That's initially what I thought it was. Other tarot readers say something else. Others say something else beyond that. So I don't know. It just kind of depends on the individual reading the card as to how you see that. But at minimum, you're in a mausoleum here. Everything's come to rest. And so for the Four of Swords is you're letting your mind come to rest. The lack of impulse control with poor, you scattered focus. And so that would be bringing that focus into some kind of just a rest, so where the thoughts you're having are not going everywhere, so that this calms down. And that, once mom has come in, or whoever the authority figure is, once the queen has come in and says, okay, enough now, we're going to do this in a balanced way, we're going to listen to one another, we're going to speak the truth, we're not going to try to undermine anything, we're going to try and, one thing at a time, let's not try to consider all things at once. So she's going to create a plan, excuse me, for this to happen. Now, you could be the queen. The person hearing the reading could be the queen here, where you're the one that's expected to come in and settle everybody down and get everybody back on track. And if that's the case, then you need to encourage everybody to just settle down and see if you can't just let everybody's thoughts settle. And then let's talk about one thing at a time. The queen is here to bring order, and maybe that's what you need to do today. Maybe that's who you are. Those of you who are listening to the reading, maybe this is who you are. You're having to deal with a bunch of chaos, and nothing's getting done, and we got to formulate a plan. And it may take you to be the one that does that and gets everybody back to the table so everybody can settle down and think about what they need to think about clearly. And remember that when you do that, things can flow together a whole lot easier with Ewas than it can with just everybody voicing an opinion that no one's really listening to. There has to be a solution found, clearly. There has to be a plan established with the Queen of Swords. And there has to be a leader that rises up to do that. Otherwise, you're going to have nothing but this, right? And from there, everybody needs to settle down and be quiet. And listen to one person at a time. Explore each thing that each idea that everybody has, and come up with the best solution for yourselves. But it can't happen if nobody's listening to one another. If everybody forgets and separates and doesn't come together in the Ewas experience here, and understand the intuitive bond that we share with one another, we can come up with a collaborative solution. It can happen. You might have to give up something that you want in order for that to happen, but there can always be compromise. Compromise also is reflected in the air element and in swords. And so, but again, I think that it's going to take somebody, possibly you, to be the leader in all of this and to say, here, let's be clear on what our objective is. That's very air element. That's very swords. Okay, be clear on what your objectives are. And then let's talk about each idea, which means that everyone's going to have to settle down and stop talking at the same time. Let's take one more card. I mean, we did it on Monday. We might as well do it today, too. Let's see if there's another outcome here, or if there's maybe something in here that will give a little more information in between the other cards. So I'm going to cut the deck, take the 13th card. I was born on the 13th, and things seem to happen to me in 13s. I used to wake up, this happened for about 5 years. This years ago, I used to wake up at 3:13 every morning. So it's like, okay, clearly this is a balance issue. I don't know, but I drew the Fool. Anyway, when I do it, that's just my process. I take the 13th card. You don't have to do that. It's just something I do. I want it to be really, really random. Well, I got the Fool. Card 0 of the Major Arcana. Here we have the Fool beginning his journey. He has not come into form yet. This is the soul taking its journey into form. You see the sun shining above. His knapsack is over his shoulder. We don't come into this life as souls not knowing where else we are. So everything, when we're done in these other physical expressions, if you will, wherever it is, whether it's here on Earth or other planets or whatever it is, right? Whatever we learn, we bring back to the collective. And so he brings with him that. He brings with him all of the things he either needs to learn here. I mean, maybe this is, or all the things he has learned to help benefit him here. But I mean, you could see this as the theme of the soul's life here in form, that it chooses, the things it wants to work on, the things that maybe in other expressions didn't get resolved. And you see the purity of the little lily in his hand right there, or its hand, because we don't know yet if this is a male or a female. This is androgynous individual here. The dog is at his side, barking, and I think the dog is ready to take the leap with the Fool into physical reality. So he's on the precipice here. Now, we can look at this in terms of being on the precipice of something really wonderful happening, and if so, then we can some new opportunities from letting things settle down and hearing one another, having somebody sort of shepherding the whole process. Maybe that's you. And then from there, something new and wonderful can unfold. So out of all of this, instead of everybody being mad at one another because their idea wasn't used or whatever, everybody sees the bigger picture and is happy that a solution was found. And now something new can take place. A new opportunity can unfold. Something that's better than just standing around yelling and saying what they want and having nobody listen. At least at this point, after everything comes to a rest, everybody's ideas are heard. You see. But I suspect that the Queen is you, whoever's listening here to this. It's you, and you're trying to bring things into order and to create some kind of a level playing field, if you will, for ideas to be expressed and listened to and considered and played out to see, okay, would this work? Would this actually solve our problem? Are there some other ideas we can incorporate to make that a stronger thing, right? So again, I think that the solution here, which is a lack of focus here with Ewas, not understanding that you need to find a collaborative solution, the lack of impulse control. I think both are reflected in the Five of Wands. I think that the Queen of Swords brings things back together and gets people going in the right direction. Everybody settles down, and so that they can really think about what they want to say and how what they want to add to the conversation. And then from there, after the decisions are made, the leap of faith is taken, to see, okay, let's try it. See what happens, see if we're right. And if you're not, it's back to the drawing board. If it doesn't play out the way you think, you might have to tweak it a little bit, or come back to the drawing board and just and look at another idea and see how that works. But if not, you take that leap of faith into something that ends up being a wonderful experience, instead of that perhaps is going to be the solution for what you're looking for here. And you do it by coming back together in Elwaz and making that a unified experience with all souls involved, essentially, you see. Instead of all people involved, let's just think of it on the soul level, souls coming in, each one, and saying, let's look at this from a higher perspective, and see how we can come together in unity and love and collaboration. And set aside the impulse control, which is ego-based. Set that aside and let's get a direction going and work from that. And who knows what can happen. There's so much that's unknown about the Fool taking that leap of faith. Coming together with people may be a leap of faith, so maybe, this is actually modifying the whole thing. It's not the end result. It's taking that leap of faith that your idea will be heard and discussed and considered, because sometimes that's all we really need. Unfortunately, I think it's just going to take someone coming in and doing that, and maybe you're that someone that's going to bring everybody together and back to the table in a way that can actually accomplish something today. So anyhow, that's it. Well, I can see that the snow issues, the snowpocalypse isn't quite over with yet, but hopefully we'll have a bit of a respite between now and the next one that hits. We oftentimes have more snow here in February, even if we don't get much in January. We generally get it in February, so we'll see though. Last year it was different, the last couple of years has been different. And then I find out that we're no longer zone 5 for gardening, we're zone 6 and 6.5, depending on where you live here. I would imagine depending on the elevation. But we're at least 6. So that's why my apricot tree is producing apricots now. We got, I think we might have gotten, 50 last time, 50 apricots off the tree. And we cut them in half and froze them. We still have them. And we use them in smoothies, But it's just nice. All this time we've had these trees, and we have these freezes in the spring, and it freezes the blossoms. We don't get any apricots. And then a few years ago we got 7. And then we got a few more, and then we got 50. So, so I don't know. Maybe we won't get a bunch of snow in February. We need it in the mountains for sure, because that's what fuels our flood irrigation, so we need to definitely have it. It's just that if we could not have it in such a violent way, that impacts people so much. There have been accidents that were not good. There have been there have been deaths. There's been all kinds of stuff that's gone on that's just really, really really impacted people's lives. And so if you know somebody like that, this is a time to really extend them a lot of love and support, and let them know they're not alone. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and check out the blog, Stepping Aside. The address is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click more below the video and it's right there. Scroll down to the bottom, it's where I am on social media is there. Check out the blog. Things go up on it in the midnight hours Sundays, like the forecast for the week. And that's kind of fun to do for me. I like doing that. The daily correspondences for Work and Magic go up on Sundays. Right now, I'm still in the Exploring Tarot series. That will go up. I'm almost done with that, though. I have a few more, but not quite. It'll be a while, but I think maybe by June it should be done. I don't know. I have to go back and really see on the spreadsheet how much more I have left. But there's that, and then there's a little astrological cheat sheet there as well. And then also, did I do all? Yes, I guess that's it. I do 4 things a week, and then sometimes I'll write something else. I'll put something else up, like maybe a rune casting or something, a rune divination or something like that. So look for all that. I write over on Medium, Substack, and Patreon as well. The stuff goes up over there. Some of it does, not all of it. Some of it does. And so I guess that's it. Have a good weekend, and click subscribe if you haven't, and give it a like if you would. I'd love you to do that. And come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.